Hi, my name is Buzz Bruggeman. I'm one of the guys that founded ActiveWords. Today I'd like to show you ActiveWords functionality using a Camtasia video. So inside ActiveWords, if you type the word add in any application, anytime, anywhere, and trigger with by either hitting the spacebar twice or by hitting a user-designated F key, such as F8, you will bring up the ActiveWords add wizard. So there's 8 things that we do with ActiveWords, and those 8 things we believe make up the 80 part of the 80-20 paradigm inside your personal computing experience. So let's look at the first one, which is substituting text. So when I click Next, I then bring up the action field, and in the action field I can type a word or up to 6,000 words, and I can copy and paste them and drop them in. But just for today, I'm going to tell ActiveWords that Seattle, Washington, 98144 is my zip code. So now when I type my zip, it's going to type Seattle, Washington, 98144 in any application that accepts text. And when I say any application, I can even use it in a DOS window. So my zip in a DOS window is Seattle, Washington, 98144. So what do I use this to do? Things like B for Buzz, and BB for Buzz Bruggeman, and M for Microsoft, and AWS for ActiveWords. So what's the limit on this functionality? The limiting factor becomes your imagination, not what ActiveWords can do. So the next thing that ActiveWords does, it allows you to launch programs. So in this case, I've got WordPad open, but I'm going to click Next. I'm going to hit on the Current button, and it's going to tell me exactly where the .exe application is for WordPad. In this case, I'm going to call WordPad WPAD. And I'm going to click Finish. Now let's say I was in a Google search, and I suddenly decided that I wanted to go to WordPad. I could type WPAD, hit the spacebar twice, and I would be back inside WordPad. So again, type add, go to launch a program. If it's a current program you want to launch, click current. If not, you're going to need to click on the browse button and tunnel through until you find the exe file using the Windows Explorer. The next thing that ActiveWords allows you to do is to open a document. So in this case, I'm going to highlight the Open a Document command within the ActiveWords Add Wizard, click Next, and then simply click the Browse button, which is going to take me into my recent items. So I'm going to double click on Letterhead, because I've created a letterhead that I might use. Then I'm going to call this LH for letterhead. Click Finish. Now when I type LH, it can open that letterhead faster, quicker, and easier than anything you can do. Now how might you use this? For a fax transmittal form, for a contract, for a proposal, for any kind of a document that you routinely open up. In my case, the letterhead. Next, let's look how ActiveWords allows you to name and navigate to an internet site. I've become very fascinated with Twitter. I think Twitter is one of the more important pieces of technology that's happening around today. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to navigate to click on the Navigate to Internet site, click Next, go to Twitter, in this case my Twitter homepage, copy the URL from Twitter, take it back to ActiveWords, drop it in, and then I'm going to call it something simple like TWA. And I'm not even sure why I call it TWA other than it works for me. Now in this case, TWA is not a word that I would use in the English language. So I'm going to uncheck the confirmation flag, which means that I can get to Twitter pretty quickly. So now when I type TWA, hit the spacebar once, it's going to launch the browser and take me to Twitter. And there I can see the people that I've been following in Twitter. So the next thing we focused on was the idea that you send repetitive email to lots and lots of people. In my case, I send lots of email to our support team. So I'm going to double click on Send Email, and I'm going to put in here support@ActiveWords.com. I'm going to click Next, and I'm going to call that EM for Email Support. I'm going to hit the confirmation, uncheck the confirmation flag, click Finish. So now, when I'm thinking about support in ActiveWords, and I type EM SUPPORT, it's going to erase that character string, open up a new Outlook email, because Outlook is my default mail client, put the support@ActiveWords.com in the to line, and put the cursor in the subject line. So now I'm ready to go to send an email to ActiveWords support. So the next thing we focused on was the idea that routinely people go to lots of the same folders. So in this case, I'm going to use our Open a Folder agent to allow me to browse to my documents very simply, very easily. And I'm going to call it My Docs, such that anytime, any place I type My Docs, it's going to erase that character string and open up my Documents folder. Now with ActiveWords, if you can see the folder, we can open it. There are two other areas of functionality inside ActiveWords which I'll dwell briefly on. The first is opening a Windows setting, and the last is scripting. Opening a Windows setting simply allows you to name things like printers. And scripting allows you to merely allow you to do something that's simpler than writing a macro, but just as powerful. For example, I've told ActiveWords with our scripting language that 7D means go open up a new Outlook task and calendar it out for 7 days. Now in the near future, I'm going to prepare a Camtasia video on scripting. What we also did inside ActiveWords is when you type the word help, we're going to bring up our help. And there's two types of help, one that's on this computer and one that's on the web. And we try to make our help as dynamic as possible. So we're grateful that you're trying ActiveWords, we're grateful that you're looking at what we've done, and we hope you enjoy using ActiveWords as much as we've enjoyed building it.